Welcome back to another episode of the Badland Podcast. I am your host, DJ Sky Daddy, and today we're talking about reciprocation capacity. But first, before we get tap into today's topic, please like, share, subscribe to the pod. Continue to grow this platform, continue to get the word out so that we can interact at a high level. Also, and I feel like I say this every time I get back on the pod. I know the level of consistency is not where it needs to be. I know I post every so often, but consistency on what my schedule allow. And we're going to talk about capacity. That's funny that we're talking about that. My capacity as it stands right now for consistency is low. And each and every time that I'm not up to par to where it's more consistent, more content, more ideas, that bothers me. And I know because the sub count is not as low, it's not a big demand, but at the same time, we're supposed to respect the platform to the best way possible. So I want to communicate that God is working in my life to get it to where I can be more consistent and more, you know, interactive and come up with new ideas and this and third. But until such time, the things that I'm able to do, please respect it. Please interact with it. Please get some fruit from it. And please, you know, like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, we're going to do another Wisdom Wednesday. Like I said, reciprocation capacity. And this came on my heart over this past weekend. And I didn't know what to really call this video. I went through half a dozen different titles as far as wants, needs, a lot of different variations of what I wanted this title to be, and I landed on reciprocation capacity because sometimes I feel as if um, sometimes things are not going to always be 50-50, and things can go in order. Some things fall out of order. But where the disparity goes in is how we react to it. And I kind of want to go back and kind of go to the root and kind of the beginning of what kind of offset this. So maybe two, like probably like just at the 2 month mark. One of my mentors that I really like hearing him talk and spread the gospel through videos like this is Jason Wilson, author, father, husband, martial artist out of Detroit. He does a impeccable job at really getting down to the nitty gritty of being a comprehensive man and just being obedient, reflecting God's image. And you can see whenever he makes a video, you can see God has worked on this vessel of a man that Jason is, and I respect that wholeheartedly. I respect everything that he stands for, and I'm subscribed to his channel. Also, I'm subscribed to his way of thinking. Subscribed to the way he carries himself. He's a very respectable resource, and he had a video about 2 months ago where he made a video pretty much saying about how um at one point for Father's Day, his wife and his kids, took him to like a cabin in Michigan. And when they, did a video saying how much they appreciate him and this and third, like he felt empty. He didn't know how to be celebrated. And once I got done watching like that video, for the next couple of days, I started to feel some of like, questions being, I started asking myself like, man, like, do I really have an issue with being celebrated? Because, at the end of that video, he was saying, the next time somebody wants to celebrate you or do something for you, just allow them to, this, and third. And that got me thinking about the level of capacity that people have, because I started, cross-examining it, start, asking AI, just going through my database of my life experience and this, that, and third. And I got to the point to where I know how to be celebrated, but the level in which I expect it don't always meet the reality of it, even though vice versa on my end. Um, I don't mind going all out. I don't mind showing up for people, because one thing that God has granted me is um not with good vision per se, but the vision of knowing that what people need in that moment. Some people need a win, and especially when you're communicating with a person for long periods of time, family, friends, or even coworkers, throughout the day. Conversations are had at work, because as sometimes you spend more time at work than you do at home, especially you work multiple jobs. So life is going to come up some way, because that's just how things are. And even in that aspect, you can look at your coworker and see what's needed in their life off of dialect, or off of just observing off the observing of environments. And I don't mind people pouring into me, but sometimes the flesh fights the spirit, because it gets to a point to where, like, man, maybe they could have poured more than that. That's only a half a cup. Or maybe they could have done this, maybe they could have done that. And fast forward to this past weekend. Um, this past weekend, I was supposed to go on my birthday trip. Today is 420. Today's my birthday, hence the fit, and stuff of that nature. But even with that being said, some plans fell through with some family members, some real close family members, and it was a domino effect. One thing fell apart that was connected to the other thing, and the other, so it's just all unraveled. And I had my mindset on going to Cleveland and going, just to just explore a different aspect of the Midwest and this, that, and the third. And this kind of led me to where I am at now, because it was a lot of like, man, I didn't make provisions, turned down weddings, did all of the things just for me to stay at home. And you know, it was more of disappointment than bitterness, because I'm not upset at my family. I'm not upset that things happen. It was just the disappointment of having made provisions, and the provisions in my mind seemed like it was all for nothing. And then I had to humble myself. Then I had to look at it from a different perspective, because we are all prisoners of the moment. We get caught up in the right now, at the minute by minute, second by second, that we don't take time to look at it from the grand scheme. Maybe a delay in something that you want is not a no. A delay in reciprocation, as far as a celebration of life, or just being thought about, just because it's delayed don't make it a no also. So all of the things that went into me feeling a way kind of slowly dissipated, because I had to reason with myself. I had to be comprehensive. I had to be mature about the moment, and not self-centered, self-serving. Even though we have all heard, it's your day, it's your birthday, pretty much it's okay to make it about you. It's okay to, we kind of have that one day green light to just act a ass, or to you know, though a, a fit, kind of like, the Bradzilla of weddings, or this and the third, because it's your wedding, or because it's this and the third. It gives you a free pass to just do whatever. And I have never been of that ilk to like feel like no matter what the place and space may be, it's the right way and a wrong way to handle things, no matter what it is. And you know, again, the reason why I was wrestling with titles about what to call this video so much is because of that one reason. Because it was just so like, man, should I make it about this? Should I make it about that? Should I, but God put it on my spirit to talk about the reciprocation capacity. So, with that being said, I kind of did my digging, and I want to break down the definition, and then I want to break down the biblical definition of what reciprocation capacity is, or reciprocal capacity. So if you just Google reciprocal capacity, this is what comes up on Google. So, reciprocal capacity refers to a mutual exchange of skills, knowledge, and support between parties, fostering shared growth and strengthening overall capabilities rather than a one way transfer. It builds empathy, confidence, trust, and relationships commonly applied in community development, technology training, and collaboration professional settings. So, mutual skill building and community-based programs, tech workers and businesses owners learn from each other, increase both parties' confidence, asset-based approach. Participants recognize and build on each other's strengths, fostering pride and share accountability. So this is pretty much a workplace related reciprocal capacity. So I'm gonna put in relationships and see what pops up, because that's more so what I'm kind of speaking to, because that's good to have that aspect of it, you know but i'm I'm kind of trying to talk about relationships. So okay, so a reciprocal capacity in relationships is a mutual balanced exchange of efforts, emotional support, care, ensuring both partners feel valued and fulfilled. It moves beyond a tit for tat to a sensible long term pattern where both individuals actively meet each other's needs, creating a partnership of equality, respect, and shared well being. Balance, give, and take. It's not necessarily a 50-50 split at all times, but a long-term balance in both parties contributing to receive from the relationship, avoiding chronic lopsidedness, mutual support. Both individuals demonstrate a willingness to support the other's goals, emotional needs, and well-being. Active communication, express needs, and actively listening to the partner's needs, ensure the exchange remains healthy and aligned. Shared vulnerability, both partners hold the capacity to be vulnerable and trust the others to reciprocate care. So benefits of high reciprocal capacity: increased satisfaction. Relationships with balanced reciprocation are less likely to suffer from resentment, burnout, or dissolution. Increased trust. Consistent mutual actions build deep, lasting trust. Both parties feel supported, valued, and emotionally safe. That's the enhanced well-being. Warning signs of low reciprocal capacity: one-sidedness. One partner consistently gives while the other takes, leading to exhaustion and feelings of being used. Emotional neglect, a lack of response to emotional needs or refusal to communicate. In Inequality, when one partner dominates this decision making or treats the other as inferior. How to foster reciprocation to tailor giving. Understand your partner's love language to ensure support is meaningful. Practice self awareness. Identify if you are constantly the giver or receiver role and adjust accordingly. Openly discuss expectation to prevent resentment. um, Communication needs. Focus on long term trends. Evaluate the relationship over time rather than judging a single moment of imbalance. So this is talking about in relationships or like marriage, how to um, in a relationship. So let's kind of put a pin in that before I move on to family relationships, and then move on to the biblical aspect of that real quick. So pretty much, um, I want to add that in a committed relationship or even in a marriage, you're going to have seasons where all of that I just said is not going to always be the reality of it. It's going to, and speaking from experience, like I said on the pod at the wrap up of last year, my wife not working, that was a season of heaviness. Um, I had to fight spiritual warfare to not grow resentment. In this day and age, a one income or one person with multiple income household is not ideal. And but God showed me that, hey, you can't sustain yourself, son. No matter you, even if you and your wife both are working multiple jobs, I'm your sustainer. So the humility after last year was really put upon my spirit, because nothing but God got us through that season of our life. But even with that being said, you may be the wife or the husband in a relationship that you feel you're always moving heaven and earth. And my whole thing that I want you guys to question is the capacity that you have and your partner have. Is the disparity so heavy where you cannot remember a time, not in the past X amount of years that y'all have been together, or in recent memory dating back to 4 or 5 years ago, or it's been a long time that you can trace back that um this person has done for me every holiday, every birthday, every this, that, and third. It just goes past, it skates past, like no acknowledgement, no this, that, and third. Now, if that's taking place, then you definitely gotta ask yourself, um, what's my role here? What is this situation teaching me versus just continuing to pour it, never addressing it, never having no conversation? Because with that being said, resentment is going to grow. And the more that you scroll on your TikTok or you do some deep digging, people are losing their minds left and right. And I say that in a very delicate way because it's a real thing. People are losing their minds, and people are putting love on on a tragedy, saying that these people were once in love. Love is not that. So I want to say that. So in a relationship, I want you guys to Google what love is biblically, not what Google the earthly definition of what love is. Love is not necessarily feelings. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love is not boastful. The biblical aspect of what love is, because God is love, and apart from Him, nothing's possible. So I want you to really comprehend that when you want to be mutual in relationships, and understanding that as you guys grow, the capacity for reciprocation should grow. And and again, you're gonna have seasons where that's not always the case. It may be a regression or ascension to um, different points to where you guys can both be comfortable with what's being given and what's being shared and this and third. And that comes with time. Time is it's not guaranteed, but at the same time, being mindful, being willing to understand that, hey, our time's limited, but how many days can we stack up that's positive to developing a good pour into each other that can um, be a good steady flow of reciprocation. You may not have enough money, but to do something, but did you at least attempt it? Did you at least um, try to do something worthwhile to the best of your abilities, or did you just let the day go by or the moment go by and just not acknowledge it because you felt like you could not bring that to the table physically? So that's something that I would definitely ask of you, to challenge you to, really get where your partner's capacity is at. And then now I want to speak on family relationships, the reciprocal capacity in family relationships, because that's more so what I'm kind of dealing with right now over this weekend a little bit. So reciprocal capacity in family relationships refers to a mutual exchange of support, care, influence, where family members share power, respect, responsibilities to create a balanced, um, equitable system. This give and take involves recognizing value and responding to the unique perspectives and needs of others, often seen in collaboration, parenting, caregiving, and emotional support. So, share responsibilities, trust, and trust. Reciprocating is built on trust where members act in each other's best interest, creating a secure environment. This involves actively listening and being responsive to the needs of others rather than imposing solutions. Balance, give and take. While not always a 50-50 split, it involves a healthy equilibrium of support. For example, one person might offer emotional care while the other manages practical tasks, fostering a sense of fairness. Develop in structural factors. Reciprocation is influenced by family structure, single versus two parent, the developmental needs of children, and integrational patterns. Respect for differences. Building the capacity involves respecting different parenting styles, cultural backgrounds, and perspective, acknowledging that everyone has skills to offer. Contextual family therapy perspective. This frame work emphasizes that reciprocation includes a sense of fairness and just where members consider both their own needs and the needs of others within the relationship. Generalizing reciprocation, acts of love or support that are given freely, often without expecting immediate return, based on trust that the support is mutual. Delayed/long term reciprocation, providing care to older relatives in return for care received earlier in life. Shared decision making, moving from top down approaches to a parenting ship where all members are involved and valued. For professional working with families to establish a reciprocal relationship is key to understanding the family's context and supporting child development, shifting away from one-sided experts driven models towards a true partnership. Oh, this is kind of like the village definition of what it is to kind of like create a safe environment within a family tree. And that's somewhat what I'm kind of trying to speak on, but at the same time, it's just like how, like this said, is just balance the give and take. Like I just said, um, you're not gonna always have a perfect balance in relationships, but understanding people's heart posture is very key because, um, like I said, I had to humble myself and understand that um, there's a time and place for everything. At the right time, it will happen. And no matter what the definition of the relationship that you have, celebrations are not always when you expect it to be. There is surprise parties. There's just such thing as a surprise party. There's such things as people just being celebrated, just out the blue, yearly, daily. And I don't want to be in the place of space where I'm exalted or where I'm just worshiped daily because I'm not God. I'm not even qualified to even be even in that same domain. But acknowledgement every so often, I feel like that's a need that kind of nags, and sometimes I shy away from that because of the fact that um, a lot of people misunderstand me. At least in like my mind, I'm awkwardly obvious sometimes. I can be very obvious, extremely obvious, but people off of their experience second guess who I am or may notice something that they may not like, never bring it to my attention, and that um, kind of alters their perspective. And also, people love you for your gifts and not for you. Me being a DJ, People are probably going to show me love only when I'm behind that board. But day to day, that's I shouldn't expect that type of capacity from people because they don't owe me that. And sometimes I feel like even in a lot of then they're all in my relationships, even within my marriage, I don't force people's hand. I just don't. I feel like that's so self-serving. That's so self-serving to be like to try to like fix people's mind. Like, hey, you know it's my birthday, right? You know you should have and you could have and all of the things. That's not that's not something that sits well with me because at the same time, yeah, they could have all did those things, but what happened is what happened. That and also just the fact being like nobody's obligated to celebrate you. Um, God knows all of our names, and as long as we exalt His name, when the time is right, He will give you that grace to allow people to, give you a moment to yourself. But until such time, you have to endure, even when you don't think that you're being seen or being loved. God loves you. Remember that. God, I'm grateful that God gave me life for this long. It's a lot of people who didn't live to see this day, didn't live to see their 29th birthday. And I'm grateful that God has stuck with me throughout these 29 years. Even when I was in a place and space to where lust was an idol, I turned away from um, from my path that God had laid out for me, and He didn't condemn me. He kept calling me back into the fold. He kept calling me. He kept calling me. So who am I to try to make it to seem like I need something that can corrupt me? You know, too much of anything is never good for you, and I never want to be in a place of space to where I'm exposed to too much of anything to where I'm spending myself too much. Humility goes a long way in my life. So that's just something that has been on my spirit that I definitely wanted to share. And also, let's do the reciprocal capacity biblically. So when you type in reciprocal capacity biblically, reciprocation is spiritual and moral principle that actions, both positive and negative, yield corresponding returns. Offering summarizes sowing and reaping. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 through 8, it establishes a divine covenant where obedience brings blessings and forgiveness of others allow for receiving God's mercy. It emphasizing mutual accountability, generosity, and love action. The golden rule. Jesus stated, everything then do to others as you would have them done to you, which is the primary guide for interpersonal reciprocation. Um, Sowing and reaping. Galatians 6, verse 7 through 8 reinforce that what a person plants sows is what they will harvest, emphasizing that actions have consequences in spiritual life. Luke chapter 6, verse 38, and Matthew chapter 5, verse 7 indicates that the mercy and generosity extended to others would be the same measure returned to the giver by God. Conventional relationships, Old Testament examples such as Deuteronomy chapter 28 shows a reciprocal covenant where God blesses is tied to Israel's obedience. Application and misconceptions. Radical generosity versus fair exchange. While standard reciprocation dictates loving those who love you, Jesus encourages a higher form of reciprocal generosity, loving enemies and giving without expectations of return. God is source. While the law of reciprocation often use people to deliver blessings, God is the ultimate source of the return. Discipline and growth. Proverbs 29 and Hebrews 12 speak to the reciprocation of discipline. Accepting God's correction leads to righteousness and growth. Reciprocation in the Bible is fundamentally about establishing a lifestyle of active, loving engagement with God and others rather than a selfish transactional business arrangement. Facts. I Everything is very on point with what I'm aligned with as far as um anything biblically that I can cross examine in real time and apply it in real time is very um amazing. And one thing that, like I just said, like at the right time it will happen. So my flowers, people love to use the phrase, I want my flowers, or we want to give them their flowers while they're alive. My flowers are still blooming. My flowers are still being planted. The seeds that the flowers that I'm looking for, that I felt that I needed this past weekend, are still being planted. And my humility, my obedience, and my alignment with who God has called me to be didn't I'm thankful that God didn't allow me to get out of position, because the flesh, the flesh was trying. It was trying. It was smacking his lips. It was grumpy. It was weary. It was upset, rightfully so. But I still have a relationship, a covenant. I still have a calling that I can't get distracted off of nothing. Don't care what it is. If it's about my birthday, if it's about this that, and third, it don't matter. Have a calling. I'm here for a limited time only. Even if God willing, if I live to see 100, you know, limited time only. Still, and I'm just thankful that God has given me a spirit of wisdom, a spirit of comprehensiveness and comprehension. Also, a spirit of understanding the moment, uh, understanding at the right time that it will happen. And um, I'm so just thankful that I know that God has not turned a blind eye to nothing that I have done, and to keep it from being self-righteous, I have to leave it in God's hands. And I really want to challenge y'all um, to really comprehend the reality um, of what we're up against. In a perfect world, um, you would look at things being fair, things being just, things being aligned, things being more effort driven, effort given, whatever the case may be. But I want to leave you with this, you know, reality check slash wisdom slash love slash, exposing my heart posture. Um, a lot of things have shaped the man that you see before you at age 29. By the grace of God, my lessons have taught me. I'm grateful that not too many lessons that I really had to learn the hard way more than once. Because life gives you a lot of hard lessons. Experience is definitely one of the best teachers. Is one of the best ways to give wisdom as well, through your experience, but also knowing the reality of the world that we live in, battling spirits daily, spiritual warfare daily. It comes with the cost of knowing better. It comes with the cost of knowing how to handle yourself in high spiritual stress. stressful moments where spiritual fitness is of the utmost importance, because you get to a place and space to where you want to lash out. You want to flip a table like Jesus did. But you get to a point to where you balance out um what God is doing, what your purpose, what you are being used to do. And sometimes I do feel the weight of that cross that I'm tasked to carry each and every day, because I have had seasons and I feel like I'm still in that same season where I give more than than I receive in the aspect of what I would like for it to look like. But at the same time, I have to ask myself, what are these people's capacities? Because one family member that was supposed to go is on call, and he has a slew of responsibilities. I can't be mad that he has responsibilities. I can't be mad at he's a father, he's a husband, and covenant trumps anything. Responsibilities for your covenant trumps anything that the other party has going on. The other family member isn't in a financial season where they can consistently do things without a little bit of help being given, and that's okay. That's what family is for. But when you can't meet that expectation, and not because you don't want to, but because your capacity don't allow you to, and they don't want to even tap into that capacity because they want to get it how they see fit, which is perfectly fine. I overstand that. Um, so with those limited capacities, three different limited capacities, things like this happen. And instead of being upset, instead of saying my birthday was for nothing, or everything that I did was for nothing, I have to look at the totality, because sometimes I'm a prisoner of the moment too. Sometimes I look at things limited. What's the maximum level? What's the totality of what this is teaching me? What's the reality of people's capacity? What's the reality of your capacity? If your capacity is higher than others, condemning them for their capacity is not the most appropriate or even reasonable thing, because if somebody can't meet you where you're at, when it comes to family, you can work through it. When it comes to a marriage, you can work through it. If it's a level that you feel is too high and the margin is so heavy, limit the access, limit the responsibility, or the expectation, should I say, the expectation that is being given to said person, because we all fool ourselves thinking that um, people are supposed to meet our expectations every time at a snap of a finger every single time. It's not the reality. It's not the reality of anything. People have choices, free will. The God did not force me to follow him. God didn't force me to be obedient. He called. He sent signals. He sent signs. He said, son, I'm here. Hey, son, I need you. He kept calling. He kept calling. He kept calling. He kept calling. And I'm a living testimony for that. So I have to reflect accordingly. I can't be self-serving. I can't look at it as somebody should have or could have, because where is reality? Where's the heart posture of forgiveness? Where's the heart posture of mercy? Where's the heart posture of grace? And where's the heart posture of what God has spoken over your life will happen? Everything that God has spoken over my life, whether it has happened, currently happening, or will happen, it's already set in motion. It's already done. So my moments of desiring things and wanting things and needing things, God is the God that meets every aspect of your life as long as you are surrendered. And this is surrendered Raymond talking, because a year or so ago I was not as surrendered, nowhere near um that like I am now. Um, I'm grateful for this perspective, and I'm grateful that God put it on my heart to give you guys this type of perspective for your day to day. So I really want you guys to, if you guys have made it this far, please like and subscribe and share this to somebody else who may have a birthday coming up or may have a special day coming up, and the day may not have gone the way that they would like for it to go, but remember about um remember that as long as you have life, there's time for all that you desire, want, and needs to be fulfilled. If you're fully surrendered and you're aligned with what God is calling you to do, I'm not saying have a perfect walk. I'm not saying that you're not going to stumble, you're not going to fall, you're not going to grope, you're not going to moan and groan. I'm not saying that. I'm not condemning people who do that. But I want to give you a different avenue to travel down. And I know this is, it may sound radical, it may sound weird, it may sound like I'm settling. A lot of people love to use um that word upon me, settling. Um I have been through too much to settle. I don't settle for things. I'm real with what's around me. I'm real with what my capacity is, should I say. So be real with your capacity. Be real with the people who are around you. If you have to limit people's access slash expectations, I'm not saying do away with them, but just move, shift responsibility, shift expectations, shift, what you think that they ought to be doing, and see what God has really in store for you for that aspect of your life. So I really hope that something was said on today's episode that really helped somebody. Um, and if you have a birthday coming up, put the date down. You know, in the comments. Happy birthday. If you guys have a birthday coming up, but yeah, man, continue to like, share, and subscribe, man. This is still the early stages of this podcast. God willing, this podcast is going to be very transcendent to help somebody. And it's already helping people. So I'm thankful that God is using me, and not misusing me, because that's not his heart posture. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this moment and this opportunity. And as always, if you're in the South Bend area on a Thursday night and you're looking to have a good time, please come to Brothers Bar and Grill to hear the yours truly spin on the ones and twos. Now, I will say, we do have country night every third Thursday, I believe, of each month, or or just every so often we have a country night on a Thursday. Sometimes I'm DJing, sometimes I'm not. But if it's a country night, I do apologize, because you can't see the fullness of the gift. But if you are there and there is no country restrictions, I do know that you will have a great time. Come, if you leave a Google review, if you are subscribed to this podcast, if you follow me on TikTok, if you do any of these things, you can get a free drink. If you request 3 songs in a row, you get a free drink. Um, Pretty soon, merch is going to start popping up for sale, and I would run straight here and let you guys know when that is happening. These are all coming up soon. Hopefully, we can have more guests on the podcast, and we can have more interactions and more realms to grow and to develop this platform. But until such time, y'all, this is your favorite DJ, DJ Scotty Two Dotty, signing off. Peace.